I don't have my... Yes? Radhe Radhe, Dandava Pranam. Welcome to Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Shri Gurudev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Patipavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Harinam Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Dandavat Pranam all Vaishnavas. Amit Dandekar and Sadananda Das Swapnil Tikale Vindarupini. Dandavat Pranam all Vaishnavas. Jiva Pavana Prabhu has just posted the Mangalacharan. Dandavat Pranam. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, that means auspicious invocation. When you think about the meaning of invocation, it means we are invoking the presence, the energy, the potency of someone. So Mangalacharan means we are invoking the presence of our Gurudev, the presence of our Guru Varga, the presence of Nityananda Prabhu, Mahaprabhu, Radha and Krishna. Not just their presence, but we are invoking, beseeching their mercy, their grace, their sidelong glance. So that begins on page 1 of this Bhajan Treasure Trove. Shri Gaudiya Gita Guccha, Vandeham, Shri Guru, Shri Yuta Padakamalam.
Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Śrī Krishna Līlā Katane Sudaksham Audaryamalurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham सारसार नारायणं त्वं सततं प्रपद्ये नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय गौरप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव इति नामिने अतिवर्त्यचरित्राय स्वश्रितानंशपालिने जीवदुःखे सदरताय श्रीरामप्रेमदायिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वतीति नामिने श्रीवर्षभानवी देवी दयिताय कृपाभये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञान दैने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वलप्रेमभ्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाश विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणि श्रीमूर्तये विगतान्ते रूपानुगं विरुद्धापो सिद्धान्तद्वन्द्वहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भनसम्बोधि पदं पूजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिया वैष्णवः सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते सप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतो पङ्गोर्मम मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वं पदं भोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यद्वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमदो श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवो प्रेष्ठाभिः सेव्यमानस्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भे त्वं शिव ततस्थितः कार्षन्देनुस्वनैर्गो गोपीनाथश्रेष्ठुनः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव Satyavratai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupasvarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahāda Bhakti Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Vivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Shwadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Harer Nama Harer Nama Harer Nameva Kevalam Balo Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyatha Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam all Vaishnavas. Uh-oh, someone's calling. I can't talk right now, I'm sorry. How do I turn that off? How do I turn it off? Ah. Cellular off. No. Gurudev Kabe Mora Se Dina Habe, page 34. Oh no. Okay, I can't tell. Oh, 1 second. My Facebook was doing a spontaneous update. Okay.
Computer's not strong enough to stream, so I can't see if you're online or not.
Okay. I can see. So, okay. So you can tell the weather and the temperature here in Vrindavan by the sound of the mridanga. Listen.
Hi.
The higher it gets, then you know it's quite warm. Today was 97 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know how much that is in Celsius.
It's like close to 30, right?
Mm-hmm. On the calendar there, what does it say for yesterday, Saturday the 20th?
It says Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Gosvāmī Mahārāja disappeared.
So, in Vrindavan there are different days, how do you say, the same auspicious day is sometimes followed on 2 different days according to whatever calculations have been done. And so we noticed that many devotees yesterday around the world were observing the disappearance festival of Śrīla Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj. I don't know. I think they're playing cricket. But today also in Vrindavan many devotees are observing that day. So today we will remember some of the glories of Śrīla Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Mahārāja. And actually many of the devotees who are participating with us have received Harinam and even some Diksha from him. So Kabe moro se dino habe Gurudev. Kabe moro se dino habe Gurudev. Kabe moro se নির্জনে বসিয়া মনস্থিরা করি নির্জনে বসিয়া কৃষ্ণ নাম গাবো যাবে কৃষ্ণ নাম গাবো যাবে মনস্থিরা নির্জনে বসিয়া কৃষ্ণ নাম গাবো যাবে কৃষ্ণ নাম গাবো যাবে সংসার পুখা কানে না পশিবে দেহ রোগ কৃষ্ণ নাম গাবো যাবে সংসার পুখা কানে না পশিবে দেহ রোগ দূরে রবে কৃষ্ণ নাম গাবো যাবে কবে মোর সে দিন হবে গুরুদেব কবে মোর সে দিন হবে হরে কৃষ্ণ বলি গাহিতে গাহিতে নয়নে বহিবে হরে কৃষ্ণ বলি গাহিতে গাহিতে নয়নে বহিবে দেহেতে পুলক উদিত হইবে দেহেতে পুলক উদিত হইবে প্রেমেতে করিবে ভোর নয়নে বহিবে দেহেতে পুলক উদিত হইবে প্রেমেতে করিবে ভোর নয়নে বহিবে গদগদ বাণী মুখে বাহিরিলে কাঁপিবে শরীর ঘর্ম মুহুর্মুহু বিবর্ণ হইবে ঘর্ম মুহুর্মুহু বিবর্ণ হইবে স্তম্ভিত প্রলয় কাঁপিবে শরীর ঘর্ম বিবর্ণ হইবে স্তম্ভিত প্রলয় কাঁপিবে শরীর কবে মোর সে দিন হবে কবে মোর সে দিন নিষ্কপতে হেনু দশা কবে হবে নিরন্তর নাম গাব নিষ্কপতে হেনু দশা কবে হবে নিরন্তর নাম গাব অবেশে রহিয়া দেহ যাত্রা করি অবেশে রহিয়া দেহ যাত্রা করি তোমার করুণা পাব নিরন্তর নাম গাব অবেশে রহিয়া দেহ যাত্রা করি তোমার করুণা পাব নিরন্তর নাম গাব কবে মোর সে দিন হবে কবে মোর সে দিন হবে গুরুদেব জয় 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 প্রভু পাদ 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 গুরু পরম্পরা 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 श्रील गुरुदेव की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय रूपानुग गौरी गुरुवर्ग की जय श्री गुरु परंपरा की जय. So just as we were singing this, I was looking at the bhajan and then one name popped up, Nandini Devi Dasi, Radhe Radhe, wife of Dayal Hari, who they both live in Sardinia in Kali Hari means Black Krishna. So, as we're driving in Sardinia, south, very often I would look up and see a sign, and that sign would say, Monastir, and that, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly in Italian, monastere, I don't know. But it looks like monastir. And I thought, oh, it's a monastery. And then I reflected back on this bhajan, Gurudev kabe mor se dina habe, manasthira kori nirjane boshia. Manastir, man means mind and stir means fixed. So the place where the mind can be fixed, that is a monastery, manastira. When will that day be mine? When my mind can become steady and sitting in a solitary place, I will sing Sri Krishna's names. Monastir, right. Thank you, Isha. So I would see that quite often, and always it would remind me of this monastir, this fixing the mind. How does one fix the mind? One can only fix the mind if they fix it on Krishna. If we try to fix it anywhere else other than Bhakti and Krishna, it will be everywhere. Today we were discussing with one devotee, and he was saying how Krishna is saying, Vyavasayatmika buddhi. One must be steady in their mind. Their intelligence must be fixed. Krishna says if someone's mind is multi-pointed, then they will never attain to any destination. So our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, he stressed one-pointed bhakti and gave us the definition of pure bhakti, so even that wouldn't be mixed or diluted. But one-pointed bhakti, it must be steady, it must be fixed. And for us here and now, it starts with endeavoring to try to become steady in our sadhana. What Gurudev has prescribed for us, like Mahaprabhu wanted that we would be fixed. With whatever number of Harinam we have been given by our Gurudev, we should be fixed. And then gradually we can increase from there, but at least we have something fixed, daily and fixed. And this helps us to be able to steady the mind, to fix the mind, so that in any situation, in every situation, our mind can be focused. Today Sudevi was telling me about Sadananda Swami. She's been reading from that book, Sri Krishna Chaitanya or Krishna Chaitanya. And the things he had to endure in the internment camp. During the Second World War, all the Germans who were present within India were rounded up and thrown into concentration camps because it was British rule at the time. And he happened to be one of them, as well as his, very new disciple, Walter Eidlitz, who became Vamandas. But Sadananda Swami, the way they would wake him up was quite harsh. In the morning, they would come and literally kick him in the stomach. And there was nothing he could do. And actually, as a result of while he was chanting, they would kick him. They would treat him very harshly. Kick him in his stomach, in his back, in his kidneys, and so basically it ruptured some of his organs inside and created very, very terrible consequences, which he had to live with for the rest of his life until 1977 or so. And he was resistant to penicillin, which was one of the only antibiotics at the time, so he endured a lot of pain, a lot of difficulty. But his mind was fixed. He was taking shelter of Harinam. He was 6 years in that camp. And so through that, he also had to practice tolerance. What can you do? You are not in a position to demand or command anything. So taking shelter of Gurudev, taking shelter of Sri Harinam Prabhu, and keeping the mind fixed through all situations. This prepares us for that ultimate, final situation when, at the time, we have no control of anything. The throat becomes full of mucus. We have no control of any of our functions. The breathing is beginning to stop. But if the mind is fixed, then in any situation, one can remember Krishna. Did you want to add something?
Not about that, it's a different subject, but it's just so blissful. I need to share it.
Okay, so Sudevi is going to temper this heavy mood with something blissful.
I just read it.
Jor se bolo.
So, Sachi Mata has just come to see Mahaprabhu after he's taken sannyas and has been away for so long. So she comes to see him in Shantipur and she cooks for him. And this is what it says.
Can you all hear her?
Sachi cooks for him. He circumambulates the dishes, then he eats, the bhaktas around him. The Lord of Vaikuntha eats, the joyful Sachi watches, and he eats every bite, everything that she prepared, especially the extremely fortunate spinach, which he eats again and again. And it just reminded me of Shuddha Bhakata, and we say Shaka Sevane. So then here it says, to be fortunate means to be allowed to serve in subordination. The spinach is serving him and is therefore fortunate.
Fortunate spinach, ki jai.
I mean, how beautiful is that? When we're making offerings to Thakurji, we never think that those vegetables are actually serving the Lord. But it is killing. We think that it's just removing the sin sometimes.
Right.
But those vegetables and fruits and flowers have become fortunate because they are serving the Lord. And we are basically just sort of instruments in that, as Gurudev is using us as an instrument when the offering is going.
Now I feel bad because I picked 4 champak flowers today and one of them fell on the ground, and because it was on the road I left it there, but I was feeling bad for that flower.
Do you know what I do with those ones if something drops? Sulata, 2 years ago on Srila Gurudev's appearance day, said that she went to offer Gurudev a flower and it dropped right in front of him. And she was like, oh no, I can't pick it up and I can't give it to him. Now it's... And Gurudev just looked at her, smiled, looked down at the flower and looked at her again. So she bent down and picked it up and she handed it out and Gurudev smiled and took it.
Wow.
And so ever since then, if I drop any flowers, I make sure that I offer them to Gurudev.
I feel bad for them because the purpose of their life is to be used in service, and the one that falls, then we just discard it. But look at us. We're also fallen. Imagine if we were discarded and we're not allowed to be utilized in seva.
Sri Guru is so merciful.
Guru takes us like we take spinach.
I just needed to share that because whenever we sing Shuddha Bhakata, when it's like Gaura Priya Shaka Sevane, I always get so excited, like we're singing about spinach. But now I'm understanding that, you know, it's so fortunate because it's serving him and he appreciates that service.
Otherwise, what is the use of its life?
Yes.
But it's being given the opportunity to be utilized in
So I
seva.
needed to share that.
Thank you for sharing. That reminded me of one thing. Very cute, very sweet. Because when Sulata dropped the flower and Gurudev waited, and then she picked it up and gave it to Gurudev. So, once upon a time, Gurudev had a little cough, and he was kind of clearing his throat a lot. And we had a bunch of these...
I had a Ricola.
Ricolo! So we had a bunch of these Ricolas. And Sudevi thought, let me give Gurudev a Ricola. We knew that he would take the Ricola. So she just grabbed it, in the wrapper.
He was sitting down about to speak.
And she handed it to him in the wrapper, like, here, Gurudev. And Gurudev was just holding it, looking at this Ricola in the wrapper. And he's looking at it like this. And Sudevi just took it out of his hand, unwrapped it, and then gave it back to him. And then he acknowledged and popped it in his mouth.
He was showing me how to serve.
He was showing her how to serve. She gave him something all wrapped up, and he was like, no.
Okay, wait. In this connection...
Wait, come here.
Oh, I'm not...
It's okay.
Radhe. In this connection, now I forgot.
In the connection of the wrapper and the candy, and the throat drop?
Oh, Shripad Madhav Maharaj, I cooked in the kitchen with him when we were in... No. I assisted him in the kitchen by cutting vegetables. I didn't cook with him. So there I am cutting vegetables and everything. Then he went to make an offering. So then he wants to serve Gurudev. So he has the plate and he's having me get everything out. And he said, okay, Sudevi, give rice. So I went and I just stuck the spoon in the rice, and Madhav Maharaj was like, "Ah, what are you doing? You crazy girl, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm serving rice." He's like, "Not like this." And then he took it from me and he just scraped it up so that none of the grains were broken. It wasn't smushed. And then he put it in a bowl.
They weren't cut.
He put it in a bowl and kind of made it nice in there, and then he turned it over. And then it was in this beautiful round pile on Gurudev's plate. And then he just looked at me and smiled, and I realized he's teaching me how to serve with great care, savdhan. Don't just go in there and dig into it. That rice needs to serve Gurudev. So we do it very, very carefully with a great conscious effort, not just digging into something, but with so much affection. I never forgot that. When I saw him do that, it just melted my heart. This is how you serve Gurudev.
Didn't he teach you how to cut potatoes also?
Well, I knew just when you go into the kitchen with Sripad Madhav Maharaj or any sevak who's really truly serving their Gurudev and Krishna, you don't just go in and start doing your own thing. So everything he told me to do, I would ask him to first show me. Prabhu, please, he was Naveen Krishna Prabhu. So Prabhuji, could you please show me? And then he would do it once, and then I would do it, and you could see he would look over. And I remember Vrinda Didi, she said, "Did you get in any trouble?" And I said, "No, he didn't yell at me at all." She said, "Wow." And she goes, "Usually they get in trouble, they're doing it wrong." And I said, "Oh, I asked him every time." And she was like, "Very good."
He made sure to cut the potatoes all into the perfect size,
so
equal.
that they all cook perfectly at the same time. But it was beautiful because it taught me to be anugatya, to be under guidance, to be very closely doing seva, but under guidance. That means I'm protected. If anything goes wrong, it's that person who's in charge, and I don't want to do that, and I want to be able to serve again. So I wanted to do everything perfectly, but he taught very nicely how to serve Gurudev and therefore how to serve Krishna. Shaka sevane, spinach.
And that reminded me of a time when I went to massage Srila Gurudev once. And he looked at me and said, "Can you massage so that I will fall asleep?" And I said, "I can try." And Madhav Maharaj at that time, he showed me. Because I started doing this on Gurudev's legs. If you massage, but Madhav Maharaj said, no, not like that. And then he just was grabbing Gurudev's legs, but very gently. He would squeeze a little bit and let it go. And then squeeze a little bit and let it go. And then I tested it. One is like a massage. The other one is just a little compression and release. And it's very relaxing. So he showed me how to massage Gurudev. It was a new Braj. How Gurudev would be relaxed. How he could rest. It was in the afternoon and he was feeling a little cold. And so very, very gently he showed me like that. Very soft. Very gentle. And then he left the room to go do other services, translating work and this and that, and just left me with Gurudev for about 45 minutes. And I was just ever so gently squeezing Gurudev's calves as he was resting. So he showed me that as well. Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. There's so much more we can say on that, but I think I want to go to the next bhajan. We'll speak more later. Today is also the disappearance anniversary of Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj. I think he is the last official disciple who received Harinam from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And we saw him many times here in Vrindavan, and he is also the guru of many of the devotees who are present with us on this in this program. This group or this gathering of very, very kind and sweet Vaishnavas. So now we will sing call out. Bimala Vaishnava Rati Upajibe. Page 41 by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. It starts with Hari Hari Kabe Mora Habe Heno Dina. Hari Hari Kabe Mora Habe Heno Dina. Hari Hari Kabe Mora Habe Heno Dina. Bimala Vaishnave Rati Upajibe Vasana Hoibe Kshino. Bimala Vaishnave Rati Upajibe Vasana Hoibe Kshino. Hari Hari Kabe Mora Habe Heno Dino. Kabe Mora Habe Heno Dino. Antare Bahire Samavyamohar Ammani Mano Dohobo. Antare Bahire Samavyamohar Ammani Mano Dohobo. Krishna Sankirtane Shri Krishna Smarane. Krishna Sankirtane Shri Krishna Smarane Satatama Jiyaro. Satatama Jiyaro. Edehero Kriya Abhyase Koribo Jivono Japono Lagi. Edehero Kriya Abhyase Koribo Jivono Japono Lagi. Shri Krishna Bhajane Anukulo Jaha. Shri Krishna Bhajane Anukulo Jaha Tahe Havo Anuragi. Tahe Havo Anuragi. Bhajanero Jaha Pratikulotaha Dridha Bhave Te Yagivo. Bhajanero Jaha Pratikulotaha Dridha Bhave Te Yagivo. Bhajite Bhajite Samayo Yashile. Bhajite Bhajite Samayo Yashile. Edeho Chariyadibo. Edeho Chariyadibo. Bhakti Vinodo Ei Asha Kori Boshiya Godhumo Bane. Bhakti Vinodo Ei Asha Kori Boshiya Godhumo Bane. Vyakula yantare Prabhu kripa lagi Vyakula yantare Sadakade sangopane Sadakade sangopane Hari Hari Habe mor habe heno dino Hari Hari Habe mor habe heno dino Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Prabhu Kripa Guru More Doya Guru Prabhu Kripa Guru More Doya Guru Prabhu Kripa Guru More Doya Guru Kripa Guru More Doya Guru. All Vaishnava Thakur ki Jai. I sang this bhajan particularly because it represents the mood of Srila Bhakti Baiba Puri Goswami Maharaj. He was, from my perception, very strong, no nonsense, very heavy. He preached a lot about faith in Śrī Harinam Prabhu and also in Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Seva, but also not jumping beyond one's adhikar, one's qualification, being very steady, being very fixed, and gradually progressing on the path of bhakti. And this bhajan here is saying, Antare Bahire. Antare means inside, Bahire, outside. That my inside and outside should be the same. I should not be a pretender. They should be equal, sama vyavahar. There should be no difference or disparity between them. Sama means equal. This doesn't mean that if I'm a complete nonsense on the inside, that I should then be a complete nonsense on the outside. Rather, it means that whatever I'm doing externally to follow and to serve Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas and Krishna, it should also manifest inside. Some people have this idea, well, I'm not feeling it, so I'm not going to do it. And we hear it a lot as we've traveled around the world. I don't feel like it, so I'm not serious, so I'm not going to do it. For example, putting on tilak. What they fail to realize is that by failing to do that activity, putting on tilak on the outside, they're actually not helping the situation. Instead, they're taking the association. They, whoever it is taking the association of the mundane mind and superimposing it on the outside. Whereas those substances, the dust of the feet of the pure devotees, the water which has washed their feet, the remnants of their foodstuffs, is so powerful that it can reverse our causeless unwillingness to move forward on the path of bhakti. And tilak is the dust of the feet of the most prominent, powerful devotees of Krishna, the gopis, including Srimati Radhika. So I'm not feeling it, so I'm not going to do it. That doesn't help one. But if one puts it on the outside, then they can also pray that that can touch the inside. So I just wanted to share that. So Srila Bhakti Baiba Puri Maharaj was very strong that one should be constantly absorbed in chanting the names of Krishna, remembering him, and following very carefully Guru Varga. Srila Bhakti Kamal Govinda Maharaj, one of his prominent disciples, who near the end of his presence in this world became quite close to us and accepted us, making us close to him by his affection. He was saying that my Guru Maharaj was so strong, so heavy, so uncompromising, that it was difficult for anyone to remain with him as a servant for more than 1 month at a time. So they would rotate quite often. And he said it was also difficult for myself because he was so strong, so unrelenting. He said, but when we went to Hyderabad, at that time we met Srila A.C. Bhaktivedānta Swami Prabhupada. And he said that Srila Prabhupada told him at that time, you stay with him and you serve him. So he said, so I stayed with him and I served him for 20-something, 30-something years. He stayed with him as his servant and served very intensively, very intently. So you can understand how strong a personality like that is. We've also seen this in certain other gurus. It's difficult to be in their direct association. Even when they look at you, you start feeling like, oh my God, they can see everything. They're looking right at my Atma. And they're seeing millions of lifetimes of anarthas. And you can try to hold their gaze, and they will look at you, but at a certain point you will start to shudder. No, I can't show you this, because it's so strong and so powerful. When I met Srila Bhakti Baba Puri Maharaj, at that time, personally seeing him, he was only absorbed in chanting. He was sitting on his chair. They were speaking in Hindi for quite a long time at Sevakunj with thousands of devotees before they put the cages up. And so I took the opportunity to run across the little street, Sevakunj Gully, to his mutt, and I went upstairs and he was just sitting in the chair, chanting, fully absorbed. And his feet were sticking out, so I offered pranam and put my head on his feet. He was at that time practically unaware of what anyone was doing, just chanting Harinam, very absorbed. Our Srila Gurudev, we were in South Africa, and Gurudev said to the devotees, and I think he said to Sudevi, you should be ready to speak on any subject at any time, and whenever I call you, you should be ready. And she said, she expressed fear. She said, but I'm scared. And he said, why? And she said, because you're mean or something. What? You're scary. You're scary. And he's like, why?
He said, I'm your father.
I'm your father. And then he started laughing and he said, I also used to be like this in front of my Gurudev.
He was only scary on the Vyasa.
Yeah, but sometimes he was quite frightening. He was very strong. He was, yes, from the Vyasa Asana. And many of our acharyas were like that, on the Vyasa Asana, the seat of Vyasa, representing Tattva, Siddhanta, and Shastra very powerfully and cutting so many anarthas. And then when they would get off of the Vyasa Asana, they would be really soft and sweet and gentle. Hard as a thunderbolt, soft as a rose. So many who met Srila Bhakti Baba Puri Maharaj, they've seen him in so many different moods. One interesting thing he was born in 1913, and he came to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada in 1936. He received Harinam from him in August. And that next January 1937, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada disappeared from our vision in this world. So Srila Bhakti Baba Puri Maharaj did not have so much direct association with his Guru Maharaj, but had much association with many of the disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And many, many years later, he was preaching and he made many centers all over India. He partnered with Srila Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Maharaj, and they made, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mission, and they made many temples throughout India. So Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Maharaj was one of those disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, the very rare few whom Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada allowed to read the Rasik literature and also to speak on those subject matters, the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And he would just speak for hours with tears flowing from his eyes. So, Srila Bhakti Bhaiba Puri Maharaj, I was speaking about Bhakti Jivan Janardana, I'm coming back to Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj. So he had made many temples throughout India. Many, many years later, after the disappearance of Bhakti Jivan Janardana Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj went into a samadhi-like state, means a trance-like state. Very, very deep trance-like state, and his health was not too well, so everyone thought he's going to leave. They had actually dug a pit, a samadhi pit, thinking he's going to leave at any moment. And for many years he was in such a situation, so much so that although Bhakti Kamal Govinda Maharaj, after the departure of Bhakti Jivan Janardana Maharaj, took the service on the order of Bhakti Jivan Janardana Maharaj of continuing to initiate and acting as the Acharya for all of those temples. At that time they also instructed him, because he was the personality whom Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj at that time had also instructed, that after I depart, you should continue serving in this capacity. They had instructed him, you start initiating. It was that severe. And so Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj was in that state for many years, like in a complete kind of samadhi-like trance-like state. And then one day, and gosh, he must have been maybe in his late 80s. He sat up and he said, "Fill that hole. I'm going to go preaching." And that's when so many of the devotees, especially in Italy, met him. He started traveling around the world to so many places and preaching very strongly the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when we go to Italy, we meet many of his disciples. When we go to Sardinia, we meet many of his disciples. In Austria, many places in Europe, and also here in Vrindavan. And very inspired, enthusiastic devotees. So it so happened that after Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj came back and then preached around, then after that he also added 2 more personalities to act as officiating acharyas upon his departure. So he left this world in 2009? He was 95 years old. One of my first memory of him was his very strong, because he's a senior Vaishnava. He was senior in age and also in terms of diksha, and proper etiquette demands that anyone who is junior would accept and respect. So we were all sitting in Gopinath Bhavan at the time with our Gurudev, and he was speaking on Rai Ramanan Sambad. At that time it was not really Gopinath Bhavan, it was just a big open dirt area with a pandal tent on top. And so Gurudev was speaking, and Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj came in to the pandal with many of his disciples, maybe 10 or 15, 20, I don't know how many. It was kind of dark, power kept cutting. And Srila Gurudev got up, welcomed him. All of the devotees got up to welcome him, gave him the seat of honor. I think even where his own seat was, Gurudev gave him that. Showed him very proper respect and affection and regard. Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj came and spoke very strongly that unqualified people should not be hearing these subject matters. And we were all sitting there going, oh my God, it's like, what's going on here? And he spoke for 10 minutes, maximum 15. Then he got up and left with his disciples. And the devotees, all of us, very neophyte, very new. We're all very confused. What just happened here? Did he just come and chastise our Gurudev? What happened here? And Gurudev was laughing and smiling and really happy. And we were so like, what's going on? And Gurudev said, what he told, it is true. It is true. Unqualified persons should not be listening to or thinking about these very high esoteric subject matters. And then Gurudev utilized that as you can say a bouncing board to be able to present the tattva siddhanta of what is the qualification. Who is qualified to hear? Who is qualified to speak?
How will they become qualified?
How will one become qualified? What is the benefit of hearing? And so Srila Gurudev acknowledged what he gave. He admitted what he is telling, it is true, and you're not necessarily qualified, but, and then Gurudev spoke the verse, Vikriditam Rajabadubir idam cha Vishnum Shradham Vitonu Shiniyad Atavarnayadya Bhaktim Param Bhagavatim Pratilabhya Kaman Hridrogam Ashvapahinotya Chirena Dhira. And he was saying, this verse in Śrīmad Bhagavatam is saying very clearly, what is the cure for the heart disease of lust, or hridrogam, the diseases of the heart, which plague one, all of the anarthas which keep one bound in this material world? What is the cure for that? Hearing Rasa Lila Katha. From Śrīmad Bhagavatam, this Rasa Lila Katha, hearing that. So Srila Gurudev said, but this verse establishes two different qualifications, the qualification of the speaker and the qualification of the listener. If this verse is saying that that is the cure for the disease of lust, then how would you get rid of the disease of lust without hearing that? That's the cure. So Srila Gurudev gave the logical breakdown of it, reconciled what was told. Unqualified people should not be speaking it to insincere and unqualified persons. But if the audience is sincere, if those who are listening have shraddha, some faith, anvita, shraddhanvito nishiniyat atavarnayadya, respect, honor for the person speaking and the subject matter which is being spoken, and the person who is speaking is completely free from lust, is also there, is a tattvadarshi, is able to witness and see that, then you have the proper situation. That person who's speaking is free from lust, therefore by their speaking and by hearing with faith and regard, whoever's listening can also become free from lust and those other anarthas. And without hearing, then you will never become free from those anarthas. So Srila Gurudev gave that reconciliation, accepting, respecting, honoring, and reconciling. One time we were in Fiji with our Srila Gurudev, and someone called him from Holland, and they were on the phone from him for a long, long time. And after he got off the phone, he sat there and he said, that is the function of Guru. He said, Guru can reconcile anything. And this is also the nature of Krishna. Our Srila Prabhupada writes about Krishna, that all irreconcilabilities are reconciled within himself. That is basically the Shakti, aghatana ghatana patiyasi Shakti, the potency or the power to make the impossible possible. Anything which you think cannot be reconciled is reconciled within himself. So Srila Gurudev gave this beautiful explanation which confirmed what Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Mahārāja spoke, because what he spoke was true as well. Unqualified speakers should not speak it to insincere persons. But the people who were there were all devotees who were eager to hear, who were eager to progress in bhakti, and who were eager to remove their anarthas. And the person who was speaking, our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, was free from these anarthas, was qualified to speak, and qualified to remove the anarthas from the hearts of those disciples. So now Jiva Pavana Prabhu is quoting Krishna book, chapter 33. Our Srila Prabhupada is writing, the most dangerous aspect of contamination is lust or sex life. Bhaktim Param, devotional service is so potent that the more one advances in this line, the more that he loses his attraction for material life. One who is actually deriving benefit from hearing the Rasa Lila dance surely achieves the transcendental position. He surely loses all traces of lust in his heart. Many devotees would write Srila Prabhupada asking him, what do we do? My father also, he had the letter from Prabhupada. What should we do? What should I do? My heart is plagued with so much lust. And the letter would come back from Srila Prabhupada. You should read my Śrīmad Bhagavatam or Krishna book, the Rasa Leela section. This was the instruction of Srila Prabhupada to many, many devotees who were experiencing or being plagued with this. When it is given from a qualified person to a sincere person, then it is the cure for the disease of lust. If you want to know more about this, you can read the introduction to our Srila Gurudev's Venu Gita. There he gives a very in-depth Venu Gita, very in-depth discussion about the qualification of the listener and the qualification of the speaker, and the logical breakdown of why it is absolutely necessary to hear these subject matters. How will one get rid of the lower taste, material lust, without being given the transcendental calm? I don't want to use the word lust. It is also known as prem. The same word is used. For material lust, calm is there. Calm, lust. And for the transcendental lust, or pure love and affection, the same word is there, calm. When it is applied to Krishna, it brings all perfection. When it is applied to Maya, it keeps one bound in the cycle of repeated birth, disease, old age, and death. So it says in that verse, pratilabdya kama, the higher taste takes the place of the lower taste. When we utilize our tendency to enjoy, or our lust in this world, it is known as lust. Atmendriya priti vancha tare bale kam. The tendency to gratify one's own senses or the senses of others in this world is known as lust. Krishnendriya priti ichcha dhare prema nam. And the tendency to satisfy the transcendental desires of Krishna, the transcendental senses of Krishna. Krishna Indriya means his transcendental senses. Dhare premanam. This is known as prem. So by the higher taste, automatically the lower taste is given up.
It's making me remember Srila Bhaktivedānta Trivikram Maharaj and how he would bring out certain moods of Gurudev to really have him expand and explain more. And it was actually really beneficial for us because maybe we weren't taking it serious enough. Maybe we were just sitting there falling asleep or feeling tired because it's parikrama. And when the Vaishnava Srila Bhakti Bhaiva Puri Maharaj came in and chastised, really it was a chastisement for us.
Yes.
You're not qualified, you're not listening, you're not paying attention. And Gurudev was laughing and accepting it, that it was for him, but really it was for us, to wake us up. And then Gurudev was able to do that. What are they doing?
I don't know. Maybe they're making a kitchen upstairs.
Anyway, but I just was thinking that, how Srila Trivikram Maharaj would bring that out. But it may be that Srila Puri Maharaj was actually talking to all of us. You know, you're not qualified, you're not paying attention. The greatest thing is happening here. Wake up. And then he left, and then Gurudev was laughing, saying he's right. Wake up. How will you wake up? Open your ears, your eyes, your mouth, your senses, and drink this nectar.
Thank you. Okay, they post. Huh? Yeah. Just say, what are you doing? They're stomping, making a lot of noise, dragging stuff. Okay. So Srila Bhakti Bhaiva Puri Maharaj traveled around the world for almost 10 years, preaching very strongly, more and more, and really bringing so many people who had lost faith, who had experience of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 gurus who had fallen down and didn't even know where to place their faith. They liked what Srila Prabhupada had given, they liked the books, they liked the conception of Krishna consciousness, but they just didn't know where to put their faith anymore. And it's difficult to trust. I can tell you personally. It's very difficult to trust, even if there are qualified persons when you see so many who are placed in the same position not able to make it. You're like, well, I've already went for number 4. What about number 5? Can I do this anymore? It's very frightening. And so for those persons who had lost faith in the idea of taking shelter, finally Krishna provided them that shelter. He gave them, here, you can take shelter. And so Srila Bhakti Bhaiva Puri Maharaj was able to re-inspire them, to add nourishment, water their bhakti lata, and make them excited in bhakti again. And from that association, then they received so much. They were then understanding Vaishnava Tattva, Sadhu Sangha. What is the value of that? And taking association from so many wonderful and qualified Vaishnavas. You're going up? You can see what's going on? Okay. So they were taking shelter from so many wonderful and qualified Vaishnavas. So many came to seek shelter, further instruction from our Srila Gurudev, many other Vaishnavas, whoever was a pure devotee wherever they could be found, by understanding that tattva and siddhanta. So Srila Bhakti Bhaiva Puri Maharaj gave them that beautiful mood. And we saw and we experienced personally as we've been traveling around the world. Who opens their doors for us? Representatives of Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj. We're his disciples. Well, he's given us initiation. Who is opening their doors and in giving us the opportunity to serve our Gurudev and our Guru Varga and engaging us in our Guru's service? So many disciples of Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj. And it's not, it's a sign, it's a symptom of something. It's a symptom of the lessons that those devotees learned about Vaishnava. They were respecting Vaishnavas from everywhere, giving honor and respect. So respecting from all different groups, but giving us that opportunity and also taking us from place to place and not just encouraging us in our service, but actively assisting us and helping us in our seva, although their guru is not the same person as our guru necessarily. And this is a beautiful symptom. This reflects on their guru, that he has given that kind of understanding of association with Vaishnavas. Not that they're assisting us, but that they're not looking, this is my group and your group, but rather, who is trying to serve, who is trying to be a devotee, let's associate together, do kirtan together, discuss Krishna Katha together, discuss Tattva Siddhanta together. Let's progress together. Many, many very sweet disciples of Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj have assisted us over many, many years to do our seva. Even we went to his temple in Vienna, Austria, and they welcomed us. They welcomed our Gurudev there also. And he stayed there for a couple of days and gave programs. So much affection, so much honor, so much respect, so much dignity. Vaishnava Sadachar. Beautiful, proper etiquette. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that when you see that in the disciples, this is a beautiful reflection on the Guru. And really we should all be like that all the time. How will I reflect on my Gurudev? We should try to represent in such a way that our Gurudev will be pleased by our reflection. That does not mean freely mixing. It does not mean letting everything go. It means representing my Guru in the way that my Guru will be pleased. And so, although I did not meet Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj many times, but I did see him a few times, I met his disciples many times, and they are some of the most sweet, kind, affectionate, sincere, heartfelt devotees that I know. And so I just want to acknowledge that, and as a result of their association with and their taking shelter of their Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj. So because today is his disappearance day, we will sing Je Anilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachur. Also, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj was dear to our Srila Prabhupada. If you read his biography, they had a very nice relationship. It was said that, in fact, Srila Prabhupada requested him to come and lay the foundation stone for the Mayapur Chandradoya Mandir in Mayapur, the foundation stone for that temple. So there was a lot of relationship between them as well. Page 99. Also, Srila Gurudev said that the proper way to glorify any Vaishnava is in terms of their service to their Gurudev. And the best way that one can serve their Gurudev is to represent the teachings of their Gurudev in the most honest, simple, and straightforward way, externally and internally. And we've seen that Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj was representing his Gurudev. How was he representing? Serving his Vani, serving his words, following his instructions, preaching his mission, sharing his conceptions everywhere, and also associating with wonderful Vaishnavas like Srila Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Maharaj. He chose that personality, at the time known as the most rasik, bhavuk disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, as his preaching partner. And together they made this mission and preached all over India and made so many centers and brought so many to the path of Krishna Bhakti. So page 99, Je Anilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachur. Je Anilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachur. Je Anilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachur. Heno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur. Heno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur. Kaha moro swarup rupa, kaha sanatan, kaha moro swarup rupa, kaha sanatan. Kaha daso Raghunatho Patita Pavo. Kaha daso Raghunatho Patita Pavo. amuro bhato juga kaha kabira kaha muro bhato juga kaha kabira ek kale kotha gela gorano toraj ek kale kotha gela gorano toraj pashane ku অনলে পশিব পাশানে কুদিব মাথা অনলে পশিব গৌরাঙ্গ গুণের নিধি কোথা গেলে পাবো গৌরাঙ্গ গুণের নিধি কোথা গেলে পাবো সে সব সঙ্গীর সঙ্গে যে কইল বিলাস সে সব সঙ্গীর সঙ্গে যে কইল বিলাস সে সঙ্গ না পাইয়া কাঁদে নরোত্তম দাস সে সঙ্গ না পাইয়া কাঁদে নরোত্তম দাস যে আনিল প্রেম ধন করুণা প্রচুর যে আনিল প্রেম ধন করুণা প্রচুর হেন প্রভু কোথা গেলা আচার্য ঠাকুর হেন প্রভু কোথা গেলা আচার্য ঠাকুর হেন প্রভু কোথা গেলা পুরী গোস্বামী ঠাকুর হেন প্রভু কোথা গেলা পুরী গোস্বামী ঠাকুর ভক্তি বৈভব জয় পুরী গোস্বামী ভক্তি বৈভব জয় পুরী গোস্বামী ভক্তি বৈভব শ্রীল পুরী গোস্বামী ভক্তি বৈভব শ্রীল পুরী গোস্বামী প্রভু হে 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 श्री भक्ति बाबा पुरी गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। तृतीय तिरुभाव महामहोत्सव की जय। When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Rai Ramananda, what is the greatest suffering? Rai Ramananda replied, I know no greater suffering than separation from the Vaishnavas. And Srila Bhakti Puri Goswami Maharaj was one of those last great stalwarts. Not that there are not going to be any more, but part of a legacy of disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And because he preached very strongly, taking shelter of Sri Harinam Prabhu, and also Vaishnava Seva, Sadhu Seva, I'd like to speak a little bit about Vaishnava and Sadhu Sangha. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Ekoi, Lavamatra, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. One moment of association with a sadhu. What is association? It doesn't mean just coming close to them. It means accepting their instruction, serving them and accepting their remnant in one way or another. Dadati pratignati, giving something and receiving something. Guhyam akyati prichiti, revealing one's mind in confidence and receiving the harikatha, or the instructions which come as a result. Bhunkte bhojayate chaiva, offering prasadam to that devotee and receiving their remnants. This is cha eva, and so forth. The 6 symptoms or the 6 activities which bring about a mood of loving affection, which is really what is meant by associating with Vaishnavas. Another thing, why is it mentioned that giving something and receiving something, but it seems that someone's in a superior position and someone is in the inferior position? Because association, real association, means for us to associate somehow with the senior Vaishnavas in a way that we will be able to progress on the path of devotion. The birthplace of Krishna Bhakti is in the association of devotees. It is so essential for us, associating with the devotees or the pure devotees of Krishna. Srila Gurudev explained that sadhu, because the word sadhu sangha is used, we think sadhu is just anyone who is a devotee, and we go, oh yeah, sadhu sangha. Also, it is known as sat sangha. What is sat? Sat is truth. Sat is eternality. It is reality. Srila Gurudev explained that this word sadhu means one who is in touch with or connected with transcendence constantly. To associate with such a person, this is really sadhu sangha. And that is why by their association, Krishna Bhakti is awakened. Because they are the mediums by which Krishna is manifested in our hearts. And even after the attainment of perfection, still association with those kinds of personalities is the most essential thing. Now, if that's the most essential thing, even after the attainment of perfection, and it's referring to it as the same thing, that means that those sadhus that we associate with who awaken Krishna Bhakti are already eternally perfect. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema. They're already saturated with Krishna Prem. After the attainment of perfection or Krishna Prem, still that association is most essential. Because they are mediums by which Krishna manifests in the heart. So I wanted to share something with you, which I read today, which was, interestingly enough, who was it shared by? They shared it many times. It was by our Srila Gurudev, but it's in this context. Let's see. Oops. Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja stated, both Uh-oh. Where'd it go? Just disappeared. Oh, 1 second. To go back. There it is. Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. He says, both sadhya or perfection and sadhana, the path to perfection, everything is available in Harinam. What you cannot even imagine is present in Harinam. Chant and you will find everything there. All of the pastimes of Sri Krishna are present in his names. Amala, Harinam, Amiya, Vilasa. All of these are the truths of Harinam. The pastimes, forms and features of Krishna implied by the above mentioned names, Vipina, Purandara, Navina, Nagarabara, Vangshibadana, Suvasa, are present in the names themselves. The names themselves are the performers of the pastimes and the possessors of the forms. Everything is in Harinam. We are praying for mercy when we utter each name. Harinama tuva aneka swarupa. Yashoda Anandana Anandavardhana Nandatanaya Rasakupa. O Harinam, you possess unlimited forms, such as Yashoda's beloved son. He who increases the bliss of Gokul, the son of Nanda and the deep well of Rasa. Gurudev says, chant these names with great love, under the guidance of Vaishnavas. Anugatya. Anu means to always stay in the Dham, under proper guidance. This is spoken by Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. This is the emphasis of sadhus. This is the point of sadhu sangha, to somehow impress within us this faith, this shraddha in Sri Harinam Prabhu. Everything is there. And by sadhu sangha, one's faith and mood of loving service to Krishna will always increase. And even after the attainment of perfection, still, we should and must always associate with those pure devotees of Krishna. And our process is just that. We don't want to go directly to Krishna. That's not our goal. Our goal and aspiration is Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Dasa Das Anudasaha. To be the servant of the servant of the servant. Dasa Das Anudasaha. Of Krishna, the beloved of the gopis. So Srila Gurudev, I've read in certain places where he said, what does this mean? Who is the best or the most amazing servant of Krishna? Although we don't like to look at it like that, it is still the reality. Srimati Radhika is always serving Krishna in every way. And who is serving her and assisting her in every way? Sri Lalita Saki. And who is serving her and assisting her in every way? Sri Rupa. And our goal is to become like a particle of dust at the feet of Sri Rupa. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada establishes this point very clearly, so much so that it is placed in his Upadesh Avali. The foot dust of Sri Rupa Goswami, the fulfiller of Sri Chaitanya Dev's inner desires, is our lives' sole desired object. So we have consistency there. Oops, 1 second. By the mercy of the Vaishnavas, one can learn how to serve Gurudev. That is the function of the Vaishnavas. They are all our Shiksha Gurus. It is their function to increase our Shraddha or our faith in our Gurudev. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Goswami Maharaj, our Param Gurudev, makes that point very clearly. If someone comes in the role of Shiksha Guru and tries to take your heart and your faith away from your bona fide, qualified Diksha Guru, then this is not Shiksha. This is not considered Vaishnavata. The function of the Shiksha Gurus is to increase one's faith in their Diksha Guru. That's why Srila Gurudev warned us that we should be very careful. If we hear anything which is slightly different than what our Gurudev has told, then we should reconcile it immediately. Even if any other Mahabhagavat tells it, still. Mahabhagavat means perfected soul, transcendental personality. But if that conception or what they're telling appears to be different and we cannot reconcile it, if it makes us start losing faith in our transcendental Gurudev, then we must reconcile it immediately. Otherwise, Srila Gurudev said, it will go in like a seed of doubt. Very quickly, it will become like a big tree and it will destroy everything. So this is Hare Krishna. It was my ring. I kicked it. You know Vishnupriya? She stubbed her toe and lost her nose ring on the same day. Maybe Sudevi's taking sannyas. No, she thought these are bad omens. And then Sachinandan Gaurahari was so sweet to her for the first time ever. So loving, so caring, saying sweet words, decorating her hair, and she was like, something's definitely wrong. Before that, it was a known quantity. He was busy chanting, always weeping and everything. Now suddenly he seems to be so nice and kind and attracted to me, and he's spending so much time, and I stubbed my toe, I lost my nose ring, and my husband is paying a lot of attention to me. What's wrong? That night, she fell asleep. He got up, circumambulated his mother 3 times, and left and took sannyas. So, that's another katha for another day, but I just kicked my ring all the way over there. So, it's not about me taking sannyas. So now we will call out for the mercy of Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Rup and Raghunath. One we don't sing very often, but was one of our Srila Gurudev's most favorite. I probably sang it for him like 50 times on his request. Gauranga bolite habe pulaka sharir. It has Rupa Raghunath pade hoibe akuti, Rupa Raghunath pare rahumor ash, Arkabe nitai chander korona hebe, and Gauranga bolite habe. So it has Rupa Raghunath, Nityananda Prabhu, and Gauranga. Page 86 by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. What's strange? Oh, Isha Thakurani is talking about the something definitely wrong strange. Gora, oh, Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda গৌরাঙ্গ বলতে হবে পুলক শরীর হরি হরি বলিতে নয়নে বাবে মীরা গৌরাঙ্গ বলতে হবে পুলক শরীর হরি হরি বলিতে নয়নে বাবে মীরা আর কবে নিতাই চাঁদে করুণা হইবে সংসার বাসনা মোর কবে তুচ্ছ হবে আর কবে নিতাই চাঁদে করুণা হইবে সংসার বাসনা মোর কবে তুচ্ছ হবে বিষয় ছাড়িয়া কবে শুদ্ধ হবে মন কবে হামোহের শ্রী বৃন্দাবন বিষয় ছাড়িয়া কবে শুদ্ধ হবে মন কবে হামোহের শ্রী বৃন্দাবন রূপ রঘুনাথ পদে হইবে আকুতি কবে হাম বুঝব সে যুগল রূপ রঘুনাথ পদে হইবে আকুতি কবে হাম বুঝব সে যুগল রূপ রঘুনাথ পদে রহু মোর আশ প্রার্থনা করো সদা নরোত্তম দাস রূপ রঘুনাথ পদে রহু মোর আশ প্রার্থনা করো সদা নরোত্তম দাস গৌরাঙ্গ বলতে হবে পুলক শরীর হরি হরি বলিতে নয়নে বাবে মীরা গৌরাঙ্গ বলতে হবে পুলক শরীর হরি হরি বলিতে নয়নে বাবে সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি জয় সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি নিতাই হে গৌর হে নিতাই হে গৌর হে নিতাই হে গৌর হে নিতাই হে গৌর হে জয় রূপ রঘুনাথ জয় রূপ রঘুনাথ রূপ রঘুনাথ জয় রূপ রঘুনাথ জয় রূপ রঘুনাথ রূপ রঘুনাথ রূপ রঘুনাথ জয় রূপ রঘুনাথ Shri Rupa Raghunatha Ju Ki Jai, Shri Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Bhajahure mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanar Bindare. Page 137 by Govinda Das Kaviraj. I was just remembering the famous version on the Radha Krishna Temple album. Bhaja Manahure Shri Nanda Nandana Abhay Charanarabindare. But we're not going to sing that tune today. Bhajahure mano Shri Nanda Nandano Abhaya Charanaro Vindare. Bhajahure mano Shri Nanda Nandano Abhaya Charanaro Vindare. Durlabhamanava Janama Satsange. Durlabhamanava Janama Satsange. Taroho e bhava sindhure. Taroho e bhava sindhure. Bhajahure mano Shri Nanda Nandano Abhaya Charanaro Vindare. Bhajahure mano Shri Nanda Nandano Abhaya Charanaro Vindare. Sita Atapta Bhatavarishana Edina Jamini Jagire. Sita Atapta Bhatavarishana Edina Jamini Jagire. Bifale se binu Kripana Durajana. Vifale se binu Kripana Durajana. Chapala Sukhalamo Lagire. Chapala Sukhalamo Lagire. Bhajahure mano Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanaro Vindare. Bhajahure mano Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanaro Vindare. E dhanna yobana putra parijana ite আছে পরতি তীরে এ ধন্য যৌবন পুত্র পরিজন এতে কি আছে পরতি তীরে কমল দল জল জীবন তলমল কমল দল জল জীবন তলমল ভজহু হরি পর নীতিরে ভজহু হরি পর নীতিরে ভজহু রে মন শ্রী নন্দনন্দন অভয় চরণার বিন্দরে ভজহু রে মন শ্রী নন্দনন্দন অভয় চরণার বিন্দরে শ্রবণ কীর্তন স্মরণ বন্দন পাদ সেবন দাসরে শ্রবণ কীর্তন স্মরণ বন্দন পাদ সেবন দাসরে পূজন সখী জন আত্মনিবেদন পূজন সখী জন আত্মনিবেদন গোবিন্দ দাসয়োভিলাষরে গোবিন্দ দাসয়োভিলাষরে ভজহু রে মন শ্রী নন্দনন্দন অভয় চরণার বিন্দরে ভজহু রে মন শ্রী নন্দনন্দন অভয় চরণার বিন্দরে দুর্লভ মানব জনম সৎসঙ্গে দুর্লভ মানব জনম সৎসঙ্গে করহ এ ভব সিন্ধুরে করহ এ ভব সিন্ধুরে অভয় চরণার বিন্দরে অভয় চরণার বিন্দরে অভয় চরণার বিন্দরে অভয় চরণার বিন্দরে কৃষ্ণ হে 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 ও জয় নন্দনন্দন জয় যশোদানন্দন জয় নন্দনন্দন জয় যশোদানন্দন ও জয় নন্দনন্দন জয় যশোদানন্দন জয় নন্দনন্দন জয় যশোদানন্দন श्री कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय। I flipped the page back and it ended on Kotai go prema mai radhe radhe, and I was thinking, which bhajan should we sing for Srimati Radhika? And I don't know why it came to that page, but it must be that it is meant to be. So That is page 118 by Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj. It is said that actually it was being sung by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, but actually it's being sung by Krishna in divine madness, which we'll discuss at another time. Kotai go premamai Radhe Radhe. Kothai go premamoyi 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 Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe go jai Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe go jai Radhe Radhe. Kothai go premamoyi Radhe Radhe. Kothai go premamoyi Radhe Radhe. देखा दिए प्राण राखो राधे राधे. देखा दिए प्राण राखो राधे राधे. তোমার কাঙ্গাল তোমায় রাখে রাধে রাধে. তোমার কাঙ্গাল তোমায় রাখে রাধে রাধে. বৃন্দাবন বিলাসিনী রাধে রাধে. বৃন্দাবন বিলাসিনী রাধে রাধে. কানু মনোমোহিনী রাধে রাধে. কানু মনোমোহিনী রাধে রাধে. অষ্ট সখীর শিরোমণি রাধে রাধে. অষ্ট সখীর শিরোমণি রাধে রাধে. বৃষভানুনন্দিনী রাধে রাধে. বৃষভানুনন্দিনী রাধে রাধে. গোসাই নিয়ম করে সদাই ডাকে রাধে রাধে. নিয়ম করে সদাই ডাকে রাধে রাধে. রাধে 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 রাধে. কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী রাধে রাধে. কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী রাধে রাধে. গোসাই একবার ডাকে কেশি ঘাটে আবার ডাকে বংশী বতে. একবার ডাকে কেশি ঘাটে আবার ডাকে বংশী বতে. রাধে 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 রাধে. কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী রাধে রাধে. কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী রাধে রাধে. একবার ডাকে নিধুবনে আবার ডাকে কুঞ্জবনে. একবার ডাকে নিধুবনে আবার ডাকে কুঞ্জবনে. রাধে 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 রাধে. কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী রাধে রাধে. একবার ডাকে রাধা কুণ্ডে, আবার ডাকে শ্যাম কুণ্ডে। রাধে 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 রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে। একবার ডাকে কুসুম বনে, আবার ডাকে গোবর্ধনে। একবার ডাকে কুসুম বনে, আবার ডাকে গোবর্ধনে। রাধে 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 রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে। একবার ডাকে তালব বনে, আবার ডাকে তামল বনে। একবার ডাকে তাল বনে, আবার ডাকে তামল বনে। রাধে 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 রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে। মলিন বসন দিয়ে গায়, ব্রজের ধুলায় গরগাদি যায়। মলিন বসন দিয়ে গায়, ব্রজের ধুলায় গদগদি যায়। রাধে 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 রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে। মুখে রাধা রাধা বলে, ভাসে নয়নের জলে। মুখে রাধা রাধা বলে, ভাসে নয়নের জলে। রাধে 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 রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে। বৃন্দাবনে কুলি কুলি, কেরে বেড়ায় রাধা বলি। বৃন্দাবনে কুলি কুলি, কেরে বেড়ায় রাধা বলি। রাধে 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 রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে। চাপন দন্দ রাত্রি দিনে, জানে না রাধা গোবিন্দ বিনে। চাপন দন্দ রাত্রি দিনে, জানে না রাধা গোবিন্দ বিনে। রাধে 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 রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে। তারপর চারি দণ্ড শ্রুতি থাকে, স্বপ্নে রাধা গোবিন্দ দেখে। চারি দণ্ড শ্রুতি থাকে, স্বপ্নে রাধা গোবিন্দ দেখে। রাধে 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 রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে, কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে। ও রাধে রাধে গো, জয় রাধে রাধে। রাধে রাধে গো, জয় রাধে রাধে। রাধে কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে। ও কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে। কোথায় গো প্রেমময়ী? রাধে রাধে। Nandani Srimati Radharani ki jai. Welcome, Pure Cow Seva. Anu Krishna Prabhu and Sudevi Devi just arrived. Thank God. From what? Where were you? What were you doing? You both look so blissful and so happy and so effulgent. You look like a night sky with stars. And you just...
We were in Govardhan today.
Yes?
And rolling down the dust of Govardhan. And praying for all the devotees.
Did you hear that? They were in Govardhan, rolling in the dust of Govardhan and praying for all of the devotees. Hopefully some of those dust particles reaches to all of you and us. I know that after you leave I can roll where your feet have been here. The dust has arrived from Govardhan. So you arrived just before Mahamantra. We just finished. Kothaya go premamai Radhe Radhe. Oh. Today you're in the Math of Srila Bhaktivedānta Puri Maharaj. They're observing today?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was a little confused because yesterday also in many places and
in West Country only.
oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, did I miss something? And then we put up this calendar and it said for yesterday. For Vrindavan time. So then I was like, oh no, I missed it. But then I saw your posts and other posts. So good. Oh, they're receiving your Govardhan dust. Jai. So now we're going to call out. Oh, what is the time? You know what? Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. Yes. Is everything okay? I think Anup Krishna Prabhu is just admiring Thakurji. Krishna's wearing a very, well, you'll see it in the close-up, but he's wearing a gunjamala. Very deep esoteric meaning of wearing the gunjamala. So that's page 290 in your Bhajan Treasure Trove. Otherwise, Jiva Pavana Prabhu will post it. Thank you, Devaki. Don't forget the ghee lamp. Oh, and Sudevi prepared it as well. Where's the fire? Sorry, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Taking a long time. Here. It's okay. Shri Radha Vinu Bihari Ju ki jai, Shri Sachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Shalagram Shila ki jai, Laddu Gopal ki jai, Chota Chota Laddu Gopal ki jai, Yashoda Damodar ki jai. Okay. We have not, we're going to sing the version we grew up with. Namah-ishwaram Namah-ishwaram Sachit Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Vrajamanam Yashodabhiyorukaladhamamanam Param Krishnam Adyantato Drutya Gopya Rudantam Murnetram Yugmam Vrijantam Karam Bhojam Yumena Shatam Vanetram Shvasakam Padrirekam Kakantha Sthita Graivam Damodaram Bhaktivedāntam Iti Dritsvani Lapi Ananda Punne Sva vyapayantam tadiyeshitadeshu bhaktejikatam guna prema kastam shatavrittivante varam deva moksham na mokshavadhitva nachanyam preneham vareshadukeva idam deva purnana gopalavaram sada memam nasyami rashtam kumanye dam te mukham bhojam avyaktaniraye vritam kundalai snigdha raktaishcha gopya muhushchumbitam bimbaraktaadharam manasyami rastam alam lakshanabhay namo deva damodarananda vishnu prasida prabhu jalam himanam kripa drishti drishyati dinam vatam grihanesham bhavatyam vidhyakshirishya ugeratmajo vadbhat murtyaymayatva vayamochitto bhakti bhajo mrikosha thatta prema bhaktim satam prayacha namo shigramo nesti damodareha namaste studamne surati nidhamte vadiyodarayatam vishvasya dhamte namo radhikaye priyaye namo nanda lilayo devaya tuvyam namo radhikaye priyaye namo nanda lilayo devaya tuvyam namo radhikaye priyaye namo nanda lilayo devaya tuvyam Śrī Radha Damodara ki jai. Which Hare Krishna tune should we do? Different one, Vipralambha. Donkey, today is the disappearance celebration of Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Puri Mahārāja. So we'll do the one Gurudev said, Vipralambha. You want to lead? Or you? Hare Krishna. Now we will call out in the separation tune. Gurudev said Vipralambha to Krishna Das, and immediately Krishna Das started singing this tune. Today is the anniversary of the disappearance of Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Puri Mahārāja in this world. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Oh Radhe Radhe, Govinda Govinda, Radhe, Oh Radhe Radhe, Govinda Govinda, Radhe, Vaishnava ki jai, Rupa Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. And the window was open, so the neighbors got a dose. Is it warm enough in here for you?
Nice.
It's okay?
Mm.
Okay.
It's cool enough.
How do you look so fresh after being in Govardhan all day? And
I had a rest today.
oh, okay. You were also in Govardhan? Okay.
I was in the
All right.
She was hearing Harikatha there. Huh?
What was the most amazing thing you heard today? The one that touched you the most?
That,
How loud?
his,
Jor se bolo.
that his behavior and teachings reflect on his disciples.
That is
Important. It's
important.
a very important point.
Yes.
And I also heard yesterday that he's never compromised to speaking truth. Maybe in the 1,000 audience, he doesn't care, but he's always carrying the evidence and teaching of Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Prabhupada. And he was in the deep mood. He never compromised. He's so humble, but he cannot tolerate his anger if somebody is speaking bad and something against about Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Prabhupada Thakur and pure Vaishnavas.
And against bhakti also. Yes. Thank you. How about you, Sudevi? The other Sudevi. Devi Dasi.
Well, the most amazing thing I heard is that he came and he chastised Gurudev.
It seemed like it.
That's pretty amazing to me. Who has the power to do that? So, one thing I know about him is that he used to go and take bath in Jamuna.
You have to be on camera too. You can't just put them on camera and you not be on camera. Chalo.
So, one thing about Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj is he used to go and take bath at Jamuna every day. And one day, my friend and I were walking down a little gully, like an alleyway, a very thin one, going toward Gopinath Bhavan, toward Jamuna actually. And all of a sudden, as we turn down the alleyway, we see this beautiful sadhu with about maybe 100, 200 Vaishnavas following behind him. So automatically we kind of went back and stood off to the side and waited. And he walked very slowly, so we just got to watch him for a really long time. And as he came forward, we offered our pranam at his feet, and he stopped, and then he kind of looked up at us, shook his head yes, and then put his head back down and kept walking. And so that's astonishing to me too, that it's why our Gurudev said it's so important to have temples and pilgrimages in the holy Dham, because at every second, at every turn, we don't know who we may run into. Those personalities who are searching for Krishna from the core of their heart, who have come here to purify the holy places, they're moving and walking here in Navadvip, in Jagannath Puri, in the holy places, and they come there to do bhajan. So for our benefit, they're walking down these gullies where we can just be walking down an alleyway from Loy Bazaar, forgetting Krishna, forgetting where I am, going shopping. And then I turn down an alleyway and I remember, I'm in the place of Krishna and his bhaktas are moving everywhere. To me, that's astonishing. And to know that we're in such a place where not only now, only in India, Bharatvarsh actually, is the whole entire world. We know that Vaishnavas are moving all across the world daily, and we get to have their association, we get to see them. This is astonishing. Anything that has to do with the bhaktas is astonishing.
Thank you. That point that she just made is very Amazing.
Astonishing.
It's astonishing. That's the word of the evening. Because if you look in Shastra, if you read in all of the histories, great and divine personalities are coming to the Dham to just touch that dust. Like these personalities, they rolled in the foot dust or in the dust of Giriraj today, giving us also the opportunity, praying for all of us as well. So personalities, great personalities, Vaishnavas come from all over the universe, Gurudev said, to just touch the dust and to go to the pastime places of Krishna and remember his pastimes there. So the opportunity for meeting with any pure Vaishnava is greatly enhanced by being in the Dham, in Vrindavan. He said devotees are coming from all over the universe. So back in the day, think about it. Before Srila Prabhupada went to the West for the first time, where was he? Well, he was staying in Gopal Bhavan, kind of near Keshi Ghat. He was staying in Chipi Gully. Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Mahārāja told us that he used to stay in Chipi Gully. We know Chipi Gully is the place where you go to get your clothes stitched. I mean, there's lots of tailors there, so we go there to get our clothes stitched. But Prabhupada was staying there. Then he went to Radha Damodar temple and he was staying there. And what was he doing? He would go out and beg from person to person, door to door. What was he begging for, Sudevi?
For paper and pens and pencils because he couldn't afford paper.
He wasn't asking for money or food. He was asking for paper, pens, and pencils so that he could do his service to his Gurudev, his translation work, translating all of the great scriptures into English.
He himself tells this.
Yes, Prabhupada himself was telling this in his own journals, that he was begging for pen and paper. And so at that time, so many people didn't know what he would end up doing. They didn't know. But still, they would turn around the corner, coming with their vegetables from the bazaar, and they would see him. Maybe not even knowing who he was or what he was going to do. And our Srila Gurudev also. You turn the corner, and there he would be going every morning from Rup Sanatan, Gaudiya or from Gopinath Bhavan, or wherever, to Yamuna, or going to any mandir, any temple. And many people didn't know, oh yes, the sadhu. And they would just fold their hands, Radhe Radhe, or anything like that. So many Vaishnavas, we don't know. When we turn any corner, we don't know who we're seeing. That's why persons like Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he would say, Dhamavasi jane pranati koriya, magibo kriparalesh. I don't know who's who. So he would offer pranam to all of the Dhamvasis, including the dogs. And if they wanted to eat off of his plate, he would be like, Dhamvasi. He wasn't sure who is who, what's what. He was sure, but we're not. So our Gurudev and our Guru Varga would warn us to be very, very careful. In Vrindavan, especially in the Dham, we don't know who is who and what is what. Which trees? All trees, Gurudev said, are sages which are doing intense austerities in the form of trees so they don't have to be disturbed by anyone. In other words, people aren't going to go to trees and tell them nonsense, gramya katha. They just bypass the tree and go and speak it to anyone else. But the tree is able to be in one place with their mind fixed, doing their austerities. Like the 5 Pandavas. Where were they? As trees.
In Radhakund.
At Radhakund, actually at Shyamakund. Shyamakund. Raghunath Das Goswami was tasked with excavating Radhakund and Shyamakund. And he made Radhakund nice and square, and then he was doing Shyamakund. But that night he had a dream, and the 5 Pandavas came to him and said, please don't cut us. We're in the form of trees here on the banks of Shyamakund, doing austerities for Krishna's mercy. So Raghunath Das Goswami did not cut those trees, rather he cut around them, which left Shyamakund in a very interesting position. Looking like Shyam Sundar, Shyamam Tribhanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham. Beautiful threefold bending form of Shyamakunda, Shyama Sundar. So this is how Shyamakund manifested in that particular shape. So our Gurudev said, be very careful. He said, don't rip the leaves from the trees. Don't break their branches. The trees are great sages and devotees who are doing austerities, tapasya, praying for the mercy of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. We don't know who's who and what's what, then with great honor and respect, we should move carefully. But the opportunity for even having darshan, for seeing any pure devotee, is so great. Gangara parashohile paschati pavan, darshane pavitra koro eto maragun. By taking bath in Ganga, one's sins are removed. But just by having darshan of the pure devotee, just by seeing them, their quality is that all sins will run very far away. In fact, as Sudevi already mentioned, so many people come to the Dham, to the holy place. Tourists, they come here for a purpose, for sightseeing. Oh yeah, Bihariji, where's Bihariji? Nidhivan, Nidhivan. Okay, now we have to go to the Banki Bihari alley and drink lassis and eat aloo tikki. It's kind of like a ultra deep fried, double, triple deep fried potato patty. So aloo tikki and lassi. And this is what you do. You get all the stamps on your head, and then you go back to doing whatever you were doing. But anyhow, there is some kind of sukriti, some dust, something is touching them, and gradually their devotion will awaken. So many people come for sightseeing, or, we go to the holy place to remove our sins. It's kind of like confession on Sunday. Please forgive me for all my sins. Please remove my sins, and then going right back into doing all those sinful activities again. So people come and they drop their sins in the Dham. But the Dham is holding them. And then the pure devotees, they come to the holy places. And they themselves are considered tirtha. Tirtikur vanti tirthani. The pure devotee is a holy place in and of themselves, but very special. By the power of their presence, I don't want to use the word dissolve, because that kind of implies that it mixes. They destroy, evaporate, remove those sins which are left in the dhams by all of those thousands and millions of sinful persons. That is how powerful, how pure, and how purifying the pure devotee is. When Srila Gurudev went to the West for the first time, his expressed, from his own words, his expressed purpose was twofold. One, to nourish the spiritual lives of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada on Prabhupada's order. And two, to go to all of the holy places where Srila Prabhupada had placed his lotus feet and place his head in the dust of that place, wherever Prabhupada had gone. These were his two main expressed purposes for traveling around the world. Did he come here? Yes. Was he in this place? Yes. All offer pranam now. All the devotees would put their head in the dust of that place. So how powerful is the pure devotee? And by coming to the holy place, we don't know who's where. When Akrura came to Vrindavan, what did he do? He saw Krishna's footprints and was weeping in ecstasy, rolling in the dust and placing his head on those footprints. All of our Guru Varga have come here. All of our Acharyas were present here in Vrindavan, and all of them have placed their heads in the dust and gone to all of the holy pastime places of Krishna and remembered his sweet pastimes. So the opportunity to just turn the corner and meet with, like Sudevi told, a personality like Srila Bhaktivedānta Puri Maharaj. Just turn the corner and there he was. They offered pranam, he waited for them to finish, looked at them, acknowledged them, put his head down and continued walking. You turn the other corner, there's Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj. Turn another corner, there's Srila Prabhupada. Turn another corner, there's Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj. You turn another corner, there's Bhakti Pramod Puri. You could turn the corner and find so many wonderful stalwart Vaishnavas, and you just never know. You might not even recognize them. You might turn the corner and there would be Shukadev Goswami, or Lord Shiva, or Narada Muni. Right? Shukadev Goswami. I've seen a person walking around down the street. For some reason, he reminds me of Jesus. He's got his long beard and his hair. He's completely, or Mahārāja Rishabdev, he's like completely indifferent. Doesn't talk to anyone. He's kind of mumbling to himself, just walking up and down all of the streets, this way and that way, never bothering anyone. But he looks like he's otherworldly. I don't know who he is. I have no idea. One time, there's a history where there was somebody who came to see Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan, and they looked a little bit kind of dirty and a little rough, and the devotees sent them away. And Prabhupada asked, did anyone come to see me? And they said, oh, just one person, but they were like, dirty and not, they didn't look like, serious. Prabhupada said that was Narada Muni you sent away. If I recall, that's the correct story. That's
Yeah, that's the way I heard it.
Narada Muni, you sent him away.
He was like, oh.
We won't be able to recognize, but that pure devotee will know and recognize. As there was also one kirtan. Where was that kirtan? In Australia somewhere? I remember hearing this. There was a kirtan that was going on, and Prabhupada basically stopped the kirtan and started singing Narada Muni Bhajai Vina Radhika Ramanamane, Narada Muni Bhajai Vina. And the devotees are like, what's going on? Why did he stop the kirtan and just start singing like this? And they didn't understand. And Prabhupada's like, you didn't see? Narada Muni came to the kirtan. He was dancing. So we might not even be able to see them, but still they are there. They are coming to this place, to Vrindavan, to Govardhan, to Radhakund, Shyamakund.
Sorry, that tree.
Oh my God. So every evening we go for a walk around this compound, which is still possible to do in this compound. It's almost impossible to walk on the streets anywhere else, on the Bhaktivedānta Swami Marg or the Parikrama Marg. It's quite difficult, but it's possible to walk here a little peacefully. And we saw this one tree which looked like it needed to be cut, except it was completely bent over. It was a palm tree without any leaves on it, but it looked alive.
It looked like it was.
And it looked like a yogi or something doing a full, and we're looking at it like, oh, maybe they didn't cut it for a reason. And then we looked at it again, and we turned and we looked at it again, and we could see a face.
Like an actual face.
An actual face in the tree, and we're like, Pranam? She's like, do you want to take a picture? I'm like, no, I don't want to disturb it, whatever it's doing. And also on Govardhan Parikrama, I don't know if you've seen it, just before coming to this, after Sudevi Kund, then you're going to the place where they're bathing Giriraj in milk. And there's that one tree halfway. And when you look at it, it looks like tons of people, like faces in that tree.
Or that one that looks like a cow. Remember we got the
Right.
But I also wanted to say that in the book I'm reading, Krishna Chaitanya, they're explaining that even if one sees Krishna or sees Śrī Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what will happen? Because we're not imbued with love, we don't have prema, we don't have bhakti, we will attribute all material qualities to that person and therefore cover them. Even from being able to see them, we will put our material vision on them. So like the devotee said, oh, just some wandering, almost like a mad person.
Yes.
They didn't want to let him in. They put all sorts of material coverings on him because they couldn't
Based
see
on their
him.
mundane
Yes.
vision.
But one who has eyes, one who has life, they can see. So I was thinking of that because so many were saying, I want to see Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu was saying, they can't see me. Even if I'm standing in front of them, they'll never see me.
Right. Yes, Srila Bhaktivedānta, Trivikram Mahārāja, he said that also. That you might not recognize Krishna if he stood in front of you because he can only be seen through the eyes of love. But if we're not looking at him through the eyes of love, we might see anything else. Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Maharaj said that when we come here to Vrindavan, we don't see the real Vrindavan. We see the Mayak covering of Vrindavan because our mood is not as servants necessarily, but we're coming to enjoy, to have comfort and play and sports and whatever. We're not coming for the purpose of serving or with pure love. So he said, whether our eyes are open or closed, we are blind. We don't see the real Vrindavan. But anyhow, if any sadhu sees us, this is important. Maybe we don't see them, but they might see us. And by their sidelong glance, that's why we pray for their sidelong glance. Gurudev said we cannot see the deities. We cannot see Krishna. We cannot see the sadhu. It is the sadhu who sees us. That is the meaning of darshan, really. We're asking them to see us. See me. Even in all of my ignorance and all of my darkness, but anyhow, see me, the real me, the Atma. And please help me to awaken my Atma's true nature of divine love and service to Krishna. Srila Gurudev, the devotees who were with Gurudev on, there was this history that he went in Hawaii. We've seen the photos. He went on a boat to see the whales. The devotees were like, let's go see the whales, let's go see the whales. So he went with them to see the whales. And he told the devotees at that time that I'm liberating them. And even those who cannot see me on the shore, but I see them, I'm also liberating them. And it is said that within a couple of weeks, there was some oil spill or something, and so many of those whales ended up dying. So he can see these things in advance. When anyone merges into the Brahmajyoti, how do you get out? You're not really merged, but you have no independent self-awareness at that time. How does one escape from that hellish bondage? Why am I calling it hellish? It's devoid of seva. It's devoid of the nature of the soul, which is to love and serve Krishna. Jivera Surupahoy Krishna Nitya Das or Dasi. It's devoid of that. So how is that considered perfection? It cannot be. Therefore, one must come back again. How do you get out? It may be, and it does happen, that sadhus move through that plane of existence. They move through Krishna's effulgence to see Krishna, because his effulgence permeates everywhere. So wherever they are, in whatever direction they're looking, wherever their merciful gaze casts upon, those persons are liberated from liberation itself. Isn't that crazy? Liberated from liberation. So the opportunity for somehow being seen and being given a merciful sidelong glance by any sadhu is dramatically increased in the Dham. That's why Srila Gurudev said he was inviting everyone to come to the Dham, to Vrindavan or Navadvip or Puri every year to maximize that opportunity. If that opportunity is not presented for us, still we can associate with sadhus through the medium of Shastra, but we should try to take the opportunity of associating with Vaishnavas in the Holy Dham. This is the instruction of Rupa Goswami in the 8th verse of Upadeshamrita. Tannama Rupa Charitari Sikirtananu Smrityo Kramena Rasanam Anasin Niyojya Tishthan Braje, always residing in Braj, Tad Anuragi Jananugami, under the guidance of Krishna's eternal associate, whose heart is overflowing with anurag, deep love and affection for Krishna. This is a true eternal associate of Krishna, to be under their guidance always in Vrindavan Dham. This is a Kalam Nayad, without cessation, always remembering and glorifying Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes, doing immense, intense kirtan, sukirtan anu, of those names, forms, qualities, and pastimes, and always remembering his pastimes. This is the essence of all advice. Iti upadesha saram. What is the time? Oh, no way. 7:54. Amazing. Do you have any questions, comments, additions, subtractions? No? So, we did not receive the opportunity to speak on Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam today, but today is the day of Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj, his disappearance day. So it is appropriate to speak on the subject matters at hand, especially Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tiner Smaran Hoy Sarva Vidya Vinashan. To remember Guru, Vaishnava, and Bhagavan, these three, all avidya, all ignorance, all anarthas will be removed. It's still going? Okay. So it is essential for us to remember and somehow try to glorify any Vaishnava or divine personality, especially on their day. To neglect to do so is considered a kind of ninda, neglect of a Vaishnava. They're manifesting extra mercy on their appearance and disappearance days to give us an opportunity to remember them. And on those days, if we remember them, we are going to speak a little bit about Damodarasṭakam right now. They are Tadiya of Krishna. As we say, Namo Radhikaye Tvadiya Priyaye. They are Tadiya. They are Krishna's own, his near and dear. And so if you glorify Krishna, it's one thing. He likes it. He likes it a lot. He always says, Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. He's saying, absorb your mind always in thinking of me. But what attracts him even more than that? Mahadev is telling, Aradhananam Sarvesham, of all kinds of worship, puja. What is the topmost? Vishnur Aradhanam Param. The worship of Vishnu is the topmost. Who is Vishnu? We'll talk about that at another time. Then he says, Tasmat, but Parataram Devi, more than that, O Devi, Tadiyanam Samarchanam, who worships his Tadiya. This is more than worshipping Vishnu himself. Who is his Tadiya? Radharani, or his pure devotees. Namo Radhikaye Tadiya Priyaye. Even Mother Yashoda is running to save the Tadiya, who is near and dear, who is willing to give up its life if it cannot serve Krishna. That milk is willing to give up its life. Without serving Krishna, my life is useless. Now I'm thinking about that poor flower I left on the road. From now on, we will offer that. So, this point is essential. To serve Krishna's devotees. This was one of the essential teachings of Srila Bhaktivedānta Puri Maharaj. Sadhu Seva, Harinam Seva, but Sadhu Seva, to serve the Vaishnavas. But just remember, serving the Vaishnavas should not take the place of or replace Guru Nishtha. Serving the Vaishnavas should be in such a way that somehow, by serving you, by pleasing you, you will encourage me in my relationship with my Gurudev. And I'll just give a little example, and then we will end. Many, many years ago, we were in New Braj, and somehow 10 people were massaging Gurudev all at the same time. And I was like, well, I guess I can't even fit in there. But that person who was serving Gurudev practically 24 hours a day, he was helping him with translation work, he was cooking for him, he was taking care of everything, doing his editing, serving in all different ways. He was sitting there with such a bad back. He could barely move and he was in so much pain. And I saw 10 people massaging Gurudev, and this person, Pujapad Bhaktivedānta Maharaj, was sitting there slapping oil on his back like this and just doing like this. And he was like, like that. So I thought, maybe my seva to Gurudev can be maximized if I massage him instead. So I went and offered him a massage. Can I massage you? I saw you just slapping and I know your back is bad. So he accepted it. And after that is when he gave me that seva to go into Gurudev's room alone. That you can go and massage Gurudev and help him to rest in the afternoon. And this is how you squeeze his legs. So you see that process. He accepted, he taught me, and then he engaged me in the service of Srila Gurudev. So this is the principle. Those who try to go directly, they might get a little something. Those who go through the servant, they might get the big something. So we don't go directly to Krishna. No, we don't. Before saying the name Krishna, we say Hare, calling out for the mercy of Srimati Radhika. Radhika, Srimati Radhika, if you serve her and you please her, she is the medium by which your love and affection will reach to Krishna. Not just her. How do you reach her? Her devotees. Anugatya. So we're coming in this line, serving the Vaishnavas. Vaishnava Seva is everything. It is the essence of all of our Shastras. As our Srila Prabhupada said, the test of all of one's understanding and learning, he said it about all of the students, of all of their learning, all of their studies, is that when they see a sadhu, they will fall flat like a stick at his feet. So we will end there. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhaktivedānta Puri Maharaj ki jai, Tariya Tirabha Maha Mahotsav ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol. Jai Gurudev, Gurudev, Gurudev. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Bhakti Baba Parikrama Mahārāja ki jai, Jai Sita Mahamahotsav ki jai, Gopal Guru Guru Varga ki jai, Pushpavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shakti Nandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Jai Radha Vinobi Hari ki jai, Radha Mani ki jai, Śrīla Sanātana ki jai, Harinama Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivedānta ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hare Hare.
Hold that. What does it say on it?
This says in Sanskrit or Hindi, Devanagari script, Radha.
Radha.
I don't see an A there. It says Radha.
This is what the baby plays with right there.
Yeah.
They only play with transcendental toys, guys.
That's right. Everything is transcendental. So when you bathe Shalagram, what do you bathe Shalagram with?
Ganga Jal.
Or Jamuna Jal.
Or Jamuna Jal.
What is Ganga Jal?
The foot bathing water of the Lord.
And where does that come from?
His sweat?
Yes, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. He sweats the Garbhodak ocean. Then he comes as an avatar, as Vamandev. And Vamandeva's toe pierces through the outer covering of the universe. That comes through, and that manifests as Ganga. And then you worship him with his own manifestation, meaning everything is Chit Vastu, transcendental.
Also, we were given a housewarming gift today. I don't know if you could actually see how big that is. It's really, really huge. It was a gift given by Nandu and Vaishnavi as a home welcoming.
Housewarming gift.
Housewarming, yes. Okay. So,
thank you very much for being with us today and giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, and also something of Srila Bhaktivedānta Puri Gosvāmī Mahārāja on the occasion of the anniversary of his disappearance. I also want to thank these both. I should actually mention her name first. This is the proper way. Sudevi Didi
Sudevi
and Anukrishna Prabhu for coming and adding so much bliss to the programs that we are doing here. And they also have another function that is known as Pure
Cow Seva.
And
Ki
they
jai.
are serving the cows and the dogs and the monkeys all over Vrindavan, all over Govardhan, and sometimes also us poor humans. They give us some nice prasadam. So, anyhow, if you would like to assist in their seva, because they do require assistance, then the PayPal account which is utilized for serving, and you can watch their videos any day. They're out there serving, even in the hot sun,
In the rain,
in the rain,
snow,
in
even though
the
there's no
heart of a
snow.
Bhaktivedānta, in the morning, in the day, in the night, always serving.
What is the
AnandiniJagana@gmail.com. ANDINIJAGANA@gmail.com. So you can help them with that. So also I'd like to express our indebtedness to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to do our Guru Seva, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Hey!
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. Dandavat Pranam,
Dandavat
Radhe
Pranam.
Radhe. Shri Radha Vinu Vihari Ju ki
Jai.
Shri Nandana Gaura Hari
Ki jai.
Chiveriamo
Domani. Kal milenge. Hasta mañana.
Radhe
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe